Left of the box. Nope. Oh my god, the peanut butter solution. I love that cursed movie. I know what you're talking about. Have you heard of that movie?
I have not.
Okay, I'll give you a synopsis, and I'm not joking when I say what I'm about to say. So it's about a bunch of teenagers, and one of them gets spooked and loses his hair. So they find this potion that involves peanut butter that will help him grow his hair back. And so he makes this potion and he puts it on his head. And then his friend, the other boy teenager, thought it'd be funny to see what would happen if he put it on his junk. And he got really long hair on his junk. And so his hair starts to grow uncontrollably long. But then he gets kidnapped by some bad guy in the city who then uses clips of his hair to make magical paintbrushes, and he starts kidnapping the other children in the city to work in this factory to make these magical paintbrushes.
Sandy, I said I was going to be on till 9:30. If you wanted me to leave 5 minutes early, you could have just said that instead of giving me a synopsis of this weird movie. But all right, yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah, no, that movie was a real thing.
Okay, all
But you
right.
know, the boy who put it on his junk was able to just use his mental ability of telling the hair to stop growing, to make it stop growing after it was literally coming out the bottom of his pant leg.
Okay, well,
I just, yeah. How do movies like that get made again is what I wanted.
I I have so many questions that I don't want the answers to. Is That's amazing.
Like that's what I like. There's a lot more that went on in it. That's the crux of what I remember of it, but it's been like a long, long time since I've seen it. But it's like considering how long ago I saw it and I remember it to this day, like that tells you how intense that movie was. Because it was made for children.
Oh gosh, you keep making it worse. You keep making it worse. The more you say about it, the worse it gets. And I'm pretty sure you're probably giving it an accurate synopsis, but wow.
If you look back to the 80s and the stuff that they made for kids back then, The Last Unicorn used to be my favorite movie when I was a kid because I love unicorns and the couple unicorns that I have here. And I saw it again because it was like the 25th anniversary edition of it, and I bought it. And watching that movie again as an adult was like a constant state of deja vu because the instant something happened in that movie, it's like, oh, right, that happened. But the next moment, I couldn't think of what it was. Like it was a complete blank. But again, the
Mhm.
instant it happened, it's like, how would I ever forget that? Holy crap, that movie is dark. So dark.
I don't even know what that one is either, but all right. Yeah.
Well, there's the last unicorn who goes on a quest to try to find where all the other unicorns went to. And this takes place in like the medieval times, and she comes across a witch who tries to imprison the unicorn, but the witch actually has to cast a spell on the unicorn so other people can see the horn because only true believers can see the horn type thing. And so then the unicorn's part of a carnival show, but then the wizard apprentice to this witch knows that it's a real unicorn and helps the unicorn to escape, and a vulture escape, this vulture harpy thing that actually eats the witch. Um, and so then he helps this unicorn go on this quest to try to find the rest of the unicorns that are being held captive by an evil king in the water, being patrolled by a fiery red bull. And the fiery red bull finds this unicorn and tries to go after her. So the wizard makes her a human. And so this unicorn is trying to, you know, understand now suddenly that she's human, try to figure out what that means, and is feeling things like regret and like all these other emotions that unicorns just never had. And so her and a couple other people from a wandering band of misfits or whatever go to this castle to try to free the rest of the unicorns, and the prince of the evil king falls in love with the human version of the unicorn, but she just doesn't have it with him because she's a unicorn and doesn't understand what this love is, and he's trying so desperately hard to get her to love him, but eventually the king kind of figures out, and they have to go down, they defeat the bull, and all the unicorns get released, and then finally the spell is broken on her and she's back to being a unicorn, but she can never go back to being with her kind again because the impact of being human on her has changed her so profoundly that she will always forever be an outcast, even though the rest of the unicorns are now released.
You could have very well been making all that up as you went along, and I would not know. Like you could have just came up with that off the top of your head. You could have been freestyling this thing, and I would have no idea. You
Oh,
could be fooling me. I
and
have my computer right here, and I was about to look it up, but I'm like, you know what? Sandy's doing such a good job that I
mhm.
am just going to listen.
Yeah, and there were musical, like they didn't sing in it, but there was a musical track to it, like background music or whatever, by a very, it was a famous 80s rock band at the time, I think. Like you would probably recognize the name if you look it up as to who was the main artist to that rock band that provided the music to it. Um, but I used to see it when it would come on TV and stuff, and I absolutely loved it as a kid. But looking at it now, just like, wow, is this movie dark? Like, just wow.